This is the Friday the 30th of May at about 11 o'clock in the morning. We are actually sailing. The wind vane we call, hydro vane we call Bob. Anyway, diesel's still obviously going to remain an issue, and the wind, if it drops, is an issue. We're on a reasonable course, and that's one good thing. I will say this, that I was persuaded not to go with Chris Parker, the weatherman, because of the technology now around us in weather routing. I've got to say now that I think that was a wrong decision. I think companies like Chris Parker are invaluable. They're expensive to many that are sailing on a budget, but it's just worth it. Two other boats that are using him have avoided some of the weather that we've encountered and other people have encountered. The second thing is, in terms of the amount of diesel to carry for a west to east voyage, if I said 55 horsepower engines, or in the 50s, should carry at least, I would suggest, 700 to 800 litres of fuel. I'm not joking. And if you can find more places, stick them in. You'll be surprised how fast the boat gets lighter. And so far as my boat, which is now a 30 horsepower, 35 footer, I would carry now, it's got 169 already in the boat. I'm going to carry at least 400 litres if I can, which is half what the other one would carry, but then my fuel consumption is tremendously less. And I've got a folding prop from Brunton, which I can recommend, an auto prop. I've also trying now this sort of prop shield, which costs a lot of money, but seems to be quite good. Anyway, that's the bulletin for today. We're about 750 miles away from Horta, and I'm anxious, to be honest. I really hope we don't run out of diesel. I really hope we don't run out of the wind. Anyway, as they say, it is what it is. We've still got food on board if we are delayed. I'm a bit concerned about the water. We have a lot to start with, and I'm hoping we've still got enough to manage. We've got some flagons of water as well. Okay. Right, today's Saturday, the 1st of June. It's a rougher day today. The wind's still pretty good, and we're getting some really good speeds for a boat. Anyway, we have seen 8, and 6.5 is quite normal. We're 700 miles away from Horta now. Hard to know when we're going to arrive, but I've got an estimate of Wednesday at 8, but at this speed it could be Tuesday. It all depends on what we can maintain between now and then. Anyway, I'll show you the front of the boat. Both sails are up. We got a furled main and a full genoa, but we do fold the genoa in when it gets a bit hairy. Second of June today. Had a brief shower. We've put in the remaining diesel in the diesel cans into the tank. We've got about 27 hours of motoring, we think, confidently. We've started the generator, which you can hear in the background. The wind has picked up a little bit. I think we're probably doing about 3 to 4 knots at the moment. It's just a matter of being patient. At least the weather's not freezing cold, which is a good thing, and it's not torrential rain, which is a good thing. I suspect, like yesterday, we may even get some lunchtime sun. Anyway, I'll just show you the outside. You see the generator, see it at the back there. Now the other thing was our hydrophane Bob. We find he's a great bit of kit, no problems with him, but you need consistent wind. If there's very little wind and it's changeable, it's very hard to manage with it, and keeping a course, of course, becomes very difficult as well. But it is a great bit of kit. I wouldn't say I'd strongly recommend it. I would think about actually adding a hydrophane electric motor to it, but I think they're too expensive at the moment. You can see them. In fact, I think there's in 2 or 3 dolphins. They popped up. Got my camera.
Sorry?
Just doing a video. And they seem to have gone. There weren't very many though. I think 3 or 4. Well, that we saw. Oh, they were in the distance. I think they could be feeding actually. There. Wait till you can see them. Today's the 6th of June, and an update is we made good progress yesterday, and the wind changes again, and now we're going in the wrong direction, but we're not quite losing mileage towards Horta, but for every 2 miles we sail, we get 1 mile towards Horta, if you get that kind of logic. Weather forecasts we've been getting from predict wind make no sense, since we both download on our separate devices the weather at the same time, and he gets a different weather pattern to me. I mean, you might get different weather routing because of polar differences, which is boat planning difficulties, but the weather forecast should be the same. Anyway, I'm shutting my eyes because A, I'm tired, and B, the sun's bright, but it's not warm. What the update is, let's have a look. My laptop was in the saloon underneath a window which was shut, but the waves were so bad last night that 1 or 2 got through and soaked it. So I no longer have a laptop. Now the big issue there is that I used to use that to look at AIS, which is automatic identification system, to look at other vessels in the area and identify if they're a risk or not. I can't do that anymore, which means that it's looking at a light in the distance trying to work out what they're doing. That's not a good plan, but doable. Diesel, we're not sure exactly how much we got left, but probably guaranteed to 60 miles probably. We are 250 odd miles from, I think 255 say miles from Horta. On this direction we start losing after a day and a half. We start losing mileage until then we can gain a little bit off Horta. The weather patterns don't tell us which way to tack really, so we decided just to sail 6 hours at a time and deal with what we've got. There was other vessels who were around us last night, clearly some solar racing sailors went screaming by in winds of 22, 23, 24 knots with the cruising chutes out, so there are some guys around with some real guts. What else happened? Oh, the water, our tank water looks like it's finished, so no more showering off the back. Normally I'll wash in salt water and then rinse off in fresh water, but there's no more fresh water to use. So there's not even rainwater to collect at the moment, but we have got about 20 litres of drinking water which you'll have to ration to make sure it lasts. We may be enough in the tank to at least brush your teeth and have a wash in the morning. What else? The Iridium InReach is the Iridium Mini 2 is a recommended package, I think, for people that do things in the outdoors or in the extreme conditions. It does work, reasonably priced compared with the Starlink. One thing which has become important, it's important to get rest, otherwise your brain ceases to function. So you've got to try and force yourself to get sleep. You also got to force yourself to eat. And of course now we're down to cans, but we have to eat our pasta using salt water to cook it. Having said that, we're afloat. Oh, there's a persistent leak which we've managed to contain, have done for some time. Inexplicable as to where it's coming from. It's salt water, but we can't identify the source. Maybe from the anchor locker. What else is happening? No, I think that's it. So the wind at the moment is about 22 knots. It's now overcast. The sunshine, as I spoke, has gone away. And I'll give another bulletin when I can, as long as I remember. Oh, a pigeon tried to make it, a dove. It was a dove, actually, I think. It tried to make it to take a rest on our boat. 2 or 3, 4 times it tried, but just couldn't do it. So I imagine it's perished. All right. Well, this is now Friday the 7th of June in the morning, and we've got some sunshine, which I will try and show you delicately. There we go. The wind's about 20 knots, surprisingly, although it doesn't really look it. Yeah, it's 20 knots. We are about 120 miles from Horta. We are really hoping that nothing's going to interrupt that. We've heard from the ark boats, which are coming from Bermuda, that they are struggling with the wind against them, and we know what that's like. That's just horrendous. Very slow progress and very disheartening. Anyway, I wish them well with that. We'll get in tomorrow morning with a bit of luck and nothing going wrong. We're going to try and get tied up against another boat or against the jetty to get petrol water, and then try and see if we can get a pontoon. And then I'm going to suggest 6 to 7 days there earlier if we can get the weather and recovery time. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, it's hard to say. I mean, Leanna's very keen on sailing off straight away, and we've just been at sea for 25 days. I'm going to need some recovery time, so if he's going to go before I'm recovered, he'll be going on his own. I don't think he wants to do that. Anyway, so it looks like we'll stay until we recover. Can't stay too long because, of course, that delays me getting back to my family whom I'm missing, and also back to a life which is away from a boat. And I miss my camping too. All right, so maybe I'll put another message in, or I might do it when I'm at Horta. But the other thing is that I'm going to I've written a small record, well actually it's a book really, I suppose, of my transatlantic trips so far. Lots of little poems and odes in it of rather dubious academic quality. But they ramble, a lot of rambling in it. It's a real ramble, and it probably has no commercial value at all, but it may be of interest to some people. And I've got one more transatlantic possibly next year in my own boat, but I need to think. At the moment I don't feel like doing anything, of course. Certainly don't fancy a third transatlantic. Well, 4th that'll be for me, but 3 this way, the worst way. Okay, I'll speak later. Well, it's the 8th, I think, of June today. It's about midnight local time, but boat time it's about 10:30. So it must be about 12:30 local time. And we are on a course which will bring us close to Horta, but not to Horta. And we're going to turn to the right when we get close enough to Horta. I think the plan will be is that if we can get within, say, 20 miles, we'll just motor. We've saved enough diesel for that, we hope. And that'll be it for Horta. And then we'll be a few days in Horta. Lots of washing, clothing and sleeping I do. And then another 1,200 miles to Falmouth.